Donald Trump all but ensured a government shutdown when he refused to meet with the Democrat leadership yesterday. Now, Democrats want to roll back the Medicare and Medicaid cuts in the One Big Beautiful Bill, and they want to extend the Affordable Care Act subsidies to ensure that American citizens continue to receive health care. And Donald Trump said, I'm not going to meet with Democrats. I see no reason to meet with Democrats. I see no reason to give in to their demands until they give in to my demands. Now, this will place the blame for the shutdown solely on Donald Trump's head once again. The big 2018-29 shutdown, that one was also because Donald Trump refused to negotiate until well into the shutdown. So once again, Donald Trump's in power. Donald Trump has a Senate he controls, a House he controls, and we're going to shut down the government while Republicans are fully in control. And the Republicans are going to try to blame it on the Democrats. After Democrats have come forth and said, we're willing to negotiate, this is what we want, how can we get there? And Donald Trump and Republican leadership continues to say, we're not interested.
I feel like the Trump presidency is over. I don't think anyone takes him seriously anymore. After the last few days, Tylenol causes autism, him speaking and just saying crazy stuff, going to the UN, angry about an escalator, angry that his own staff doesn't know how to set up a teleprompter, angry last night about ABC, about Jimmy Kimmel, about this, about that. He sounds like a 5-year-old child, just complaining about everything. I'm not getting my way. I'm not having any fun here. And when he's not getting his way and he's not having any fun, he just whines and complains. And it's just, who's going to take this guy seriously anymore? No one at the UN. Countries around the world, they don't take him seriously anymore. And who listens to him here? Someone that's talking about Tylenol causing autism, and he's talking like he knows what he's talking. I just think the president has jumped the shark. I think the president has jumped the shark already, and I think it's nothing but downhill from here, and I think it's over. Let me know what you think. Like and follow for more.
This is an insurrection. And what we need to do is either leave the UN or we need to bomb it. It is in New York, though, right?
Yeah,
there could be some fallout there.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, let's break down real quick Trump's latest reversal in the Ukraine war. Here we go again. He was a no wars guy. He ran on that and he bragged about it. It'll be done in 24 hours, he said. And people loved him for that. I loved him for that. And that's what we voted for. Now he's saying Ukraine can win everything back. That Russia's a paper tiger, that NATO should shoot down Russian planes if they cross the line. Well, what does that really mean? Well, it means that these false flag airspace crossings that we've been hearing about can now be used as a trigger. So one jet crosses into international airspace at the wrong moment, NATO fires, and then boom, war can begin. It also means America doesn't want to spend the money, which is fine. I get it. But here's a new model. Europe pays, the U.S. signs off, sanctions go harder on Russian oil, NATO gets more aggressive in the skies, America saves dollars, takes political credit, and makes money selling weapons. And if America were only a business, you know what? There'd be nothing wrong with that. On paper, it makes sense, but this isn't just business, because the numbers aren't only in dollars and euros. They're in blood. Thousands dead, millions displaced, families scattered, kids growing up in basements and shelters. That's math, too. It just doesn't show up in the spreadsheets because it's ugly. And Trump says Russia's weak, a paper tiger. So if Russia's weak, why not push for peace like you said you would? Why keep flip-flopping? Why speed it up instead of ending it? It seems like every week someone whispers in his ear and he changes his tune again. This is where I get stuck. Trump said, end the endless wars. Now he's speeding it up, not to stop the killing, but to prove a point? To save America's balance sheet? And that's what everybody seems to be worried about, isn't it? Money. Well, let's face it, nobody in Ukraine, nobody in Russia, no ordinary citizen wants this war. Russia invaded, yes. Zelensky's dragging it out, yes. Europe wants it badly, yes. But no ordinary citizen wants it. And honestly, Zelensky's not even running the show anymore anyway. He's being told what to do. So this is just an international chessboard now, isn't it? And who moves first? The pawns. And who dies first? The pawns. And who are the pawns? That's you, that's me, that's reality. But here's the thing. Political risk can also be political awakening. This could split the Republican Party. A lot of MAGA voters backed Trump because of the no war promise. That was his brand. And yes, some will follow him anywhere. But the rest of us, we've got to look deeper at morals and integrity, at who we say we are. Look at Charlie Kirk's memorial last week. One stadium, one afternoon, people came together in peace. Hallelujah, unity and forgiveness. Those were the ordinary people. We still know how to do that, don't we? But our leaders, they don't. They don't listen to us either. Not anymore. So here's my point. This war, this spending, this chess game, it's not about leaders. It's about us, the people who pay in blood, the people who pay in sweat, and the people who pay from empty wallets and broken families. If America is going to lead, then we lead with common sense, with integrity, and with unity, not with endless wars and not with balance sheets, not with false flags either. We stand up and say it's enough. Enough games, enough wars, and enough political posturing. Because in the end, it can't be just about saving money. It has to be about saving lives, about saving our children's future, and about saving the future of the world's children. And remember this, we as Americans, arrogant or not, we've always believed in the good in the world. That's our foundation. That's our will. It's still in us. It's what sets us apart. One event, one stadium, one afternoon like Charlie Kirk's memorial showed the world that peace, unity, and forgiveness are still possible. Millions saw it. Millions felt it. One vibration that spread across the globe. We need to build on that. Because if our leaders won't do it, then we, the people, must.
I just finished watching Trump's speech at the UN. And this would be the point where I'd normally hold up a coffee cup and say, I hope your coffee's as good as mine. Hell, I hope it's better. Because I really do wish good things for people. But I can't do that right now. Because I can't drink coffee right now because, and this isn't hyperbole, watching that speech made me physically ill. It was humiliating to the extreme. It was just humiliating. Trump, before the entire world, sat there and got almost everything wrong. I mean, it's just ridiculously stupid things like he said China loves to build windmills and sell them to everybody else, but they don't use them themselves because they know they don't work. China leads the world in wind farms and wind energy production. Just the basic lack of understanding of everything from the Paris Accords to, and then he was so rude to everyone and such a pompous ass, and his just his verbal style was pitiful. I have seen 10th graders give better speeches. The entire World Media Organization is going to slice that speech up into every humiliating segment, and they're going to play it to their people all over the world. You know, I talk to 7 to 10 million people a month right now. And a big part of the Texas Paul Ride or Die community is global. And I just want to take a second to apologize. He is not us. We are not that. We are not imbeciles. We are not clueless people. We are not a dumb people. This person may have been elected by morons, but we as a people generally, it was a mistake to allow this to happen. People got way too comfortable. I'm sorry. I am just sorry.
This video is for President Trump. Man, we took a lot of hits for you, man. We've defended you, supported you. Boat parades, truck parades, calling everybody, packing out, too big to rig. Your whole cabinet was built on transparency and draining the swamp. And I know you've done a lot of good, but this squashing the Epstein client list, I'm out. Imagine your kid coming home with A honor roll from on his report card from school, but he stole a ring pop at the gas station on the way in the house. Just because you got good grades and all that don't mean we gonna just skate on past what you did. And here's the thing, I know you were buddies with Epstein. We all knew that. I don't think, based off the videos that I've watched and digging and asking ChatGPT and Grok and all these things, I don't think you were as dirty as the ones on that list. So, and the reason why is because Biden administration and the Obama administration, they would have let the cat out of the bag on that. If they spent $25 million of taxpayer money on the 2-year Russia hoax investigation, I can guarantee you they would have come off your connection with Epstein. But here's what I think. I think Israel's involved, and I think the CIA's involved. We already know what they did with JFK and Dr. Martin Luther King. There's some shady stuff going down. Go back and look at the documentary Black Hawk Down and all this regime change stuff the CIA and all them try to do. I think, given what's going on with Iran, I think Israel has something to do with it. And it troubles my spirit because I know biblically what I'm supposed to do. Or, coincidentally, you refused to release the list the same weekend as the big beautiful bill was passed. So I want to know what Republicans are on that list and which Republicans that have lobbying firms that are in their pockets are on that list. Because we all know that the bridge was burned with Elon Musk, and Elon Musk has got 220 million followers on X. When he talks, he's got a following. So we know that you had a hard time getting your big, beautiful bill passed. And we know politics. I'll scratch your back if you scratch my back. So is it Israel, the CIA, or Republican rhinos on that list? We want to know. And I know you're out in a couple years, but it's going to be hard for JD to get elected with your name attached if y'all just going to stride over this. And I saw the way you talked to that reporter like, is people still talking about Epstein? Is people still talking? Yeah. And for somebody who runs all these massive rallies and talks to people, I know your boys knows what's going on. And I know Laura knows what's going on. They're connected to real people, blue-collar people. Don't act like you don't know that we're upset about the Epstein client list being dropped. We ain't forgot about you parading all those people up at the White House that had millions of followers on X, and they had their little binders with the Epstein list name, and then y'all called and told them don't say nothing about it. We ain't forgot about that. We ain't forgot about instead of arresting people, the Fox News interviews that Pam Bondi's been doing, talking about the Epstein list. It's on my desk, and blaming the office in Manhattan for not giving them the information. If somebody at the FBI deleted it, then talk about it. But don't tell us that there's not a client list when somebody's arrested and in jail for SA and everything else, that child exploitation and everything else that was done. The same people that put you in office are the same people that turn a cold shoulder to you. I hate it, man. You got us. And if you're still watching this video, you know why it's so hurtful. Because as a girl dad, and I look at the stats on what's going on with men and pornography and this child, it's awful out there. It's awful. I don't know of a more demonic, nasty time than what we're living in. And this internet and access to these young kids. And you're turning a blind eye to that? We stand on business. Can't be supporting somebody who's just going to sweep stuff under the rug.
Good morning. You might be waking up this morning and realizing that yesterday 24 hours went by and you did not get raptured. Well, if you're struggling with that, I think I have some answers for you. As it turns out, Jesus was the homeless man who you ignored at your feet or mocked in the street, because he said himself in the Gospels, "Foxes have holes and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head." During his ministry, Jesus relied on community and the hospitality of others because he himself had no exact home. Or maybe Jesus was the trans person that you vilify and scapegoat every day of your life. Because many theologians point out that Jesus was painted in a maternal image as well. See, in Matthew 23:37, it says that there was a longing of Jesus to gather Jerusalem's children, quote, as a hen gathers her chicks. Mystics and later theologians, such as Julian of Norwich, even spoke of Christ our mother. Or maybe Jesus said, let's not take this one, because he saw how you treated him as an illegal immigrant and or refugee when he, Joseph, and Mary fled to Egypt to escape King Herod's massacre of the children. You can find that, by the way, in Matthew 2:13 through 15. Or perhaps it was the fact that you supported and voted for candidates who took away free meals from children, because Jesus, he miraculously fed 5,000 people with nothing more than 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. He also often ate with the quote-unquote sinners, tax collectors, prostitutes, and the general rejects of society, who you, by the way, turn your nose up at. So maybe if you're still here today, after expecting to be raptured, it's one of these things. Or I can do a part 2.
Trump just said Ukraine can now win back all of its territory. I told you. I mean, I didn't tell you that Trump would say that, but this is exactly what I said earlier this month on the 7th of September. If you look back at my video, Ukraine can now win using flamingos and robots. Flamingos being their new cruise missile, which they've just brought into being. Robots being not just the drones in the air, but also the land drones, the unmanned ground vehicles, UGVs. So what Trump has said, and Zelensky is celebrating this, and everyone's calling this a big shift, is looking at the military situation between Ukraine and Russia, and also looking at Russia's economic situation. Putin is in big trouble economically, and Ukraine has a chance to win militarily. This is exactly what I said earlier this month when I was saying that because Russia economically is so weak, Ukraine does not have to advance. It doesn't have to turn the battle back on the land. What it can do is it can hold the Russian advance off with drones and with unmanned ground vehicles, so they're not expending their own lives. Then with the drone attacks from the inside and now the long-range flamingo attacks inside, they can absolutely destroy Russia's economy going into winter, because Russia's economy is so fragile, and it's now based on oil within the country and externally, and that means pipelines, that means refineries, that means also road and rail infrastructure that not only is needed for export, but is also needed for the population, but is also needed to supply the front lines. Russia is going to go into a miserable winter. And finally, it seems to have got through to Donald Trump, because he's saying it in exactly the right way. Ukraine, with Europe's backing, looks like it can now take out Russia. Russia is being aimless in what it's doing, but because of Russia's economic situation and the balance of powers between Ukraine and Russia militarily, you know, with the advent of Ukraine's fantastic new technology by which it can reach deep into Russia, Putin's in trouble, is in real trouble, and now Donald Trump can see it. So I don't know what caused that change in his mind, what caused that turnaround, but that is, someone's managed to get into his brain in the right way, and hopefully his thinking now, Ukraine and Europe are winning, I want to back that. He probably wants some kind of cut in it or whatever, so long as America continues to supply sanctions, pressure, the military parts, the intelligence via satellites and other mechanisms, in order for Ukraine to just cause Russia, the Russian front line, to collapse and take back Crimea and all of the eastern parts. And if that were to happen, then that is massively significant in terms of geopolitics, in terms of the fall of a superpower, and in terms of Europe rising to the challenge and seeing off its bête noire to the east. So it's a good sign, folks. It's a good sign, because Putin is an absolute monster and needs to be absolutely defeated.
Donald Trump is significantly weaker than he appears. Let me explain. I'm an independent journalist that's been covering Donald Trump for over a decade now. I've made appearances on MSNBC, CNN, I write a newsletter on Substack, and I documented every single day of Trump's first term. And I'm here to tell you that Trump's authoritarian spectacle we're seeing right now is all meant to mask deepening political weakness. Donald Trump's approval ratings have been tanking. His numbers on key issues he was previously strong on, from the economy, immigration, inflation, all of that is underwater now. All right? We see him in key demographics: black voters, Hispanic voters, young voters, net negative approval rating. He's been eroding his popularity since he entered office. Trump's authoritarian overreach is not popular. People do not want to see ICE raids with unmasked people on the streets gathering up innocent migrants that have committed no wrongdoing whatsoever. They don't want to see threats of troop deployments to U.S. cities where the crime rates are declining. They don't want to see the occupation in D.C. They don't want to see what's being threatened in Chicago. They don't want to see this. And the tariffs have backfired enormously. The slowest 3 months of job growth since the pandemic. And before that, the Great Recession. We saw June was just revised down by 13,000 jobs, for the first loss of jobs since December 2020. Donald Trump is in a failed position right now. That's what's happening. His big, beautiful bill was incredibly unpopular. Everything about his presidency has been a failure so far. That's the story. That's the story. Trump's authoritarian spectacle, yes, it is an attempt at a power grab. And I've been writing about Project 2025 since 2023. I'm not naive to this threat. But what I can say is that the American people are turning away from him. And he's behaving in a way that showcases fear. Jonathan Lemire in The Atlantic highlighted this and wrote directly from White House sources that said everything that he's doing at the moment is coming from a place of fear of losing the midterms. That's what this is about. The gerrymanders, the deployments, everything. He does not want to become a lame duck president that's under investigation by the Democrats, because the generic ballots showcase that Democrats are leading Republicans. As unpopular as Democrats are, they're still leading Republicans. My point is, if this man is as afraid of your vote as his behavior indicates, if he's truly as scared of your power, he's not as all-powerful as he seems and wants to project himself to be. You're a lot more powerful than you realize. And that's the real story of this administration, the backlash.
Breaking news. The Trump Bible that contains part of the Constitution only contains part of the Constitution. What? Yes, the Trump Bible that is now being distributed to all of Oklahoma schools only contains a part of the Constitution. What the heck? Yes, listen to this. If you go through it, I haven't gone through it, but I've got another teacher that has, and this is what it contains. Basically, it contains the the Bill of Rights, which is the first 10 amendments to the Constitution, Pledge of Allegiance. It's the King James Version of the Bible, but it eliminates amendments 11 through 27. They're not in the book. This is what they're supposed to use to teach with in Oklahoma. This is what people are being led to believe is correct. It's not correct. 6 of those amendments are as follows. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery. I wonder why that one is missing. The 14th Amendment is about citizenship and due process. I wonder why that one is missing. The 15th is about voting rights. I wonder why that one is missing. The 19th is about women's suffrage, women being able to have the right to vote in the United States. The 22nd is about presidential terms and limits. They can only have the 2 terms. And I wonder why that one's who wants to run for another term? And the 25th, presidential succession and disability procedures to if the president is incapacitated, to remove them from office. I wonder why these amendments from the Constitution are omitted in Trump's Bible. What would you think? It is no accident they're not there. They're not there for a very specific reason. This is very misleading, and this is what you're getting in the Trump Bible, and this is what they're using in some states now to teach with. An incomplete constitution. They leave out amendments 11 through 27, and it's not an accident. Love to hear from my Democrats, my MAGAs, my crazies, my cuckoos, my burned out light bulbs, anybody else in the United States that teaches American history, government, etc. Amendments 11 through 27 are very important, and there are reasons they're amendments to the Constitution. Donald Trump, why are they left out? Please explain that. It's not an accident.
It is almost time to wake up Green Day, which means we are getting very close to the opening of Supreme Court's fall term. So how caught up are you on what's going on in the federal courts? Well, let's get you over the finish line, shall we? Happy Wednesday, everybody. I'm Brian, and this is the Morning Report on the federal courts for September 24th, 2025. Please double tap your screen, comment, and let me know whether that Green Day joke was too generational, and check out the link in my profile for my wish list and other ways to help me keep this going as we gear up for SCOTUS season. Hold on to your mugs, everybody. Law is not a spectator sport. All right, let's get to the news. Now, we are going to start with a California state case, Noland v. Land of the Free, and I am just going to read to you directly from the Court of Appeals here, okay? Direct quote. Here we go. This appeal is, in most respects, unremarkable. What sets this appeal apart, and the reason we have elected to publish this opinion, is that nearly all of the legal quotations in plaintiff's opening brief and many of the quotations in plaintiff's reply brief are fabricated. That is, the quotes plaintiff attributes to published cases do not appear in those cases or anywhere else. Further, many of the cases plaintiff cites do not discuss the topics for which they are cited, and many of the cases do not exist at all. These fabricated legal authorities were created by generative AI tools that the plaintiff's counsel used to draft his appellate briefs. Ooh, that one hurts. Okay, so as a result of this, the appeal in this case was held to be frivolous. The attorney's client lost her case, and the attorney was fined $10,000 for filing a frivolous lawsuit, which the court points out was actually very conservative because the attorney seemed genuinely sorry. So, there have been a few stories lately about an attorney filing a ChatGPT lawsuit, and every time it happens, I remind you guys, ChatGPT is not a lawyer. Which is also why when you guys get an answer to a legal question from ChatGPT or Claude or whomever, I politely suggest that maybe we want to do some more research. So, learn from this guy, everybody. Law and AI do not mix. Be careful. There is no shortcut to actually reading. Okay? All right. Now, unfortunately, the next story is a bit more serious. Earlier this month, the U.S. Department of Justice told a federal court that because 11 migrants could not be deported to their home countries due to fear of torture, they would instead be deported to Ghana, who had assured the federal government that they would not send the migrants anywhere that they were likely to be tortured. However, the feds stated that they had no authority to control how Ghana treated the migrants after the deportation and accepted Ghana's pledge not to send them onward. And we've heard this from the administration several times. They're sending people somewhere. They've promised to take care of the people there, but basically we absolve ourselves of responsibility as soon as we hand the people over. And essentially, probably predictably, as soon as the migrants arrived in Ghana, Ghanaian authorities transferred all 11 of them back to their home countries, which they had fled in the first place for fear of torture. Now, the plaintiffs, the migrants who also claim to have been shackled, put in straitjackets for 16 hours at a time, and denied legal counsel, all while in U.S. custody, tried to get a U.S. district court to intervene and stop their removal from Ghana to the countries that they had originally fled. But last week, the district court in D.C. said that because it lacks jurisdiction in Ghana, there's nothing it can do and must deny the plaintiff's motion for a temporary restraining order, though the judge did not sound very happy about it. The migrants, part of a group of 14 deported from the U.S., had sought protection under international asylum standards and filed suit in Ghana to block their removal. Their lawyer said the government deported them before they could meet with counsel, calling the rush transfers precisely the injury we were trying to prevent. Some have since gone into hiding to avoid torture. Now, I hate to toss in these sad stories, but we need to pay attention when these occur and keep track of all of these cases. Okay. Let's back out a little bit and end on something a little higher, a little later. Okay, we're going to check in on Ball v. East Franklin Superette and Kitchen. So a group of people in North Carolina filed suit after photos of them protesting drag shows and holding up signs saying things like "Stop grooming children" were manipulated by a North Carolina restaurant to show them holding promotional messages for the restaurant, including an ad for a drag brunch. The protesters sued under the Lanham Act, arguing that use of the manipulated images violated trademark law, which gives me a little chance to tell you guys about trademark law, which is one of my favorite subjects. So, if I sell rubber duckies, and I make one heck of a good rubber ducky, and I put lots of time and energy into making sure that my rubber duckies are very well made. I mean, listen to that squeak. Okay, what's the point of doing all of that work if nobody knows which ones are my rubber duckies? If they're all the same, why buy Brino's duckies? Okay, so I am going to put a little bee on mine. Boop. There we go. Okay? So everybody knows that these are the ones I made. I put a ton of work into them, and that if you play with one and like it and you want more, find the duckies with the bee on them. They're a little more expensive, but I think they're worth it. What I've just done is marked my ducks for trade, commerce. So when people go to the store, they know to buy Brino's ducks, the ones with the bee on them. We call that a trademark. It's not about the mark, it's about the quality of the product. But that's why we protect trademark, because if some guy is making crappy ducks and putting a bee on them so he can sell them for more, you're not going to know which ones are my good ones, and I'm going to lose money because people will start thinking Brino ducks aren't that good, and he's going to be able to charge more for his crappy ducks. Nah, because people can't tell the difference. So I'll have, and this is important, a commercial financial loss. So I'm allowed to say, no, buddy, you are not allowed to put a bee on yours. That's my trademark. Okay, that's trademark law in a nutshell. Well, these protesters sued under the trademark law called the Lanham Act because the pictures of them were used on an ad for the place that they were protesting. But there's no commercial financial loss here. They were just embarrassed because they were being assholes. And since the protesters did not suffer a commercial financial loss from the photos, the Lanham Act is not applicable. Trademark law does not protect your feelings. And so the federal duck dismissed the case. And these guys can go duck themselves. All right, that is your Wednesday morning report on the past day in federal courts. Don't forget to wake up Green Day. Otherwise, keep watching, everybody, and I will keep going. Thanks a lot, and have a great day.